saw a most fascinating talk about the Vauxhall Gardens. I actually didn't know a great deal about it, and I thought when it closed apparently in 1859, I thought, oh, it must be Victoria saying we are not amused, that was the end of it. But apparently it was because of all the noise that they were making and the local neighbours getting a bit angry about it. So nothing changes. We were so delighted that a friend of ours, who's also hard of hearing, wrote to the people at the festival hall and asked them if they could provide speech to text so that me and my other friends who are deaf and hard of hearing could follow the whole thing. And what Stage Text is doing is just wonderful.
What was the most fun bit about today?
I think I was doing the catwalk.
Was it?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy making the stuff as well?
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I like making the hat, but these claws were just annoying.
We saw the celebration of RVT 150 years. For me it was a lot of things I didn't know, but I was interested in the history of sort of drag in London. I came to London in 1997, and so this is prior, my time, and it's always really great, and no, I thought it was lovely.
There was a lot of new stuff for me as well. But actually it was a reminder of something which I'd forgotten, and that was the police raid of the Vauxhall Tavern, where the police issued rubber gloves at the time of early days of the AIDS crisis. So they issued the police rubber gloves, and I remember that. I wasn't there on the night, but I remember reading about it at the time, and I had completely forgotten about that.
Just seen an incredible, I only came in halfway through, but I saw Neil Bartlett, Maisie Trollope talking about old times at the Royal Vauxhall Tavern.
Yeah, amazing. Talking all about the history and the artists that played there, and the political landscape, and the cruising that went on behind the RBT. All things we didn't know about.
Yeah, I never knew about that, yeah. So.
Dave was very interested because Dave likes to go into lots of stories.
Anyway, what was beautiful about it, I had a tear down my cheek because it's living history. This is so important, this kind of stuff. It's people that are, mature and vintage. They're coming, they're telling their stories. I think Rupert Smith is a brilliant interviewer. He seemed to get everything out of people, not a single in the house. It just flowed smoothly, and thumbs up to everyone who made this happen, because it's so important that younger people should know about what happened in the old days.
I went to see a free installation called Helpless. I loved it. I think it was needed. I am here to support my community. I'm aware that HIV and AIDS is still an issue, but a lot of people still think that it's no longer an issue, and they still feel like you can cure it with a pill, or that you can tell whoever is HIV positive by looking at them, which is just ridiculous, which I thought was a joke when I read the article in Curex magazine a year or two ago. But apparently that's what some people think. I think it was, the installation was, or the spoken word installation was needed and important. And it was honest and true.
I liked it on two levels: from a theatrical element, the intimacy and the freedom within the space for the audience to do what they want kind of empowers them and draws them into what's going on, so you really connect with the character that's being presented on stage. And there was a lot of truth in what that character was saying, because obviously the character's coming a lot from the performer and the performer's experience and the experience of his friends and his life, and it's, for me, that kind of theatre is incredibly powerful, and it did the job, really.
I've just been to see the conversation, including the reader's wives, about drug culture and how it's influenced music and vice versa. I learned that drug culture is reflected in music in lots of different ways, and that a lot of times it can be a really that's empty. It can be a really positive thing that makes music quite bouncy and inclusive and happy, and sometimes it can be quite a negative thing that makes music, like in the case of Nirvana, Heroin, it makes music kind of sad and a bit of a downer.
Well, I've seen the wonderful Neil Bartlett who is a wonderful writer and performer, I found very important. More people need to see it. More people need to see it done by somebody of Neil's experience.
His performance really hit my emotional heartstrings. I ended up just breaking down in tears because I could identify with so much what Neil was saying about when he used to go to funerals, and there was 200 people at the first funeral, and then he went another 20 funerals later. And I said to Neil just after his amazing performance, and I was in tears, I said, if I hadn't got married in 1982 at the height of the AIDS crisis, despite the fact that it was so obvious about my sexuality, I probably wouldn't be here now. Because if I hadn't got married to a woman who just so happened to be the first person that showed me true love, I would have had rampant unprotected sex at the height of the AIDS crisis. So ironically, despite the fact that I had to live a lie for over 20 years, my wife actually saved my life, which somehow I really connected with what Neil said to me.
Well, I saw Neil Bartlett first of all. Oh no, it was the second thing I saw, sorry. Well, it was the first thing I saw this evening. And he was so moving and so honest in what he was talking about, that in the end I finished up with tears in my eyes, and that's the first time I've had tears in my eyes in 40 years, despite everything that's happened in the meantime.
And I think it's extraordinary that it's happening here as a part of this, what is basically a party for, the Royal Vauxhall Tavern, that suddenly you have something which is quite so, if you like, heavyweight. I thought it was great, actually. Yeah, it was real consciousness raising for me.
We just saw David Hoyle's on alcohol. Yeah.
Brilliant. Tell us a little bit something about what you thought about it.
It was
surreal.
Yeah, I've seen him before. He's got very good, I guess, interestingly progressive views, and he's definitely makes an impact on you. It makes you think of things differently, but possibly you don't necessarily agree with everything that he says.
He got reactions out of some people, but it was, if you look beyond the floweriness of it, it was kind of...
Yeah. And the idea, when you had the universe and the whole idea of like contextualization, that idea that we are very small in terms of the universe, that was a good point to make, I think.
Yeah. David Hoyle.
Well, he hits it where nobody wants to think about it.
He never ever fails to make me think, and that's why I love him. Love to David. And
the thinking.
I've just seen the wonder that is David Hoyle, the one and only fantastic, amazing, avant-garde performer that there's nobody else in the world like David.
I've just seen David Hoyle be very, very angry and quite drunk about a lot of issues to do with the world, and it has really spoken to me because I'm usually quite angry and quite drunk, so I really, really feel like this has been a good thing. It's affirmed my life.
It's amazing being in this space, this big space that we love so much, this really important public space. It's cool that Duffy's here.